Yo, I'm almost here. I'm almost here. Just need to run to... Hi, Craft and I. Hi, Alec Corona. How are you both doing? I've got to be here soon. Don't worry about it. Hi. Sorry. I'm here now. Sorry, little cupcake room was calling me. Little cupcake room was calling me. I apologise. Hi, Sparky. Hi, Alec Corona. Hi, Crafter Knight. Hi, Talan. How are you both doing? We're both all doing. Oh my goodness. I'm here. I'm alive. And I have a schedule. Where is it? Where is it? Yo, look at that thing flying across the screen. And hi, Fuan. How are you doing? Wait, where's the schedule? Which? Nah, it's fine. Oh my goodness. We're here. We're alive, I think. Are we alive? Are we alive? We might be. I mean, I'm not. I'm super dead. Oh my gosh, look how big this is. Let me scale it down. Let me scale it down. I made a schedule for this week. Yeah. So we got painting. We're making some art commandos. We got custom. When is that? Is that a collab with Brian Mayer? The latest cupcake. It was 3 minutes. Recently learnt that I have a bit red-green colourblind. You're a bit red-green colourblind. Oh. Wait, what is it with me having all the colourblind fans? Hi, Bob. How you doing? Thankfully, Conjurer's neither red or green. Yeah. Although, sometimes I am green. Hi, that guy over there. You think you're getting? You think they're going to make inquisitorial stormtroopers? Maybe. Maybe, I don't know. But before they give us stormtroopers, they need to give us proper Inquisition tanks. Because right now, that's the main thing we're struggling for, if I'm entirely honest. Is that Dark Tide of Briar May? Yeah! And neither of us have done even the tutorial, so, you know, it's going to be great. We're going to show you how to play. Oh, no. And we'll be finishing making for Custodes. I saw her do the tutorial. Oh no. How many neurodivergent fans do you think you can get? I don't know. I've got all the neurodivergent fans, I think. All of them. All of them. You guys are going to suck. This is going to be great. Yeah! I want to play. I want to play as an arbiter and just go shotgun time. Ba-doom, ba-doom, ba-doom. And have a little doggy doggo that I protect from combat. Kundra used to be yellow for me, and now she's actually yellow. Well, at least it's not as bad as Nico. The reason, do you know, what's it called? My character is green. The boss lady character's green. Is because of Nico, in which he did fan art and stuff. Except it turns out he's yellow-green colorblind or something like that, so he sees me as green. Dark Tide, yeah, we're playing Dark Tide on Friday at 1 o'clock British summertime time. Yeah, British summertime time. Sorry. Hello, Mercury. Can you join? Can you join? It would just be a collab between me and Briar. Having other people come in might be a bit. I got a friend who's into clown who is colorblind, trying to get them. You got a friend who's into clowns who is colorblind, trying to get them a cool paint scheme. Oh, it's in Harlequins. For Harlequins. I was thinking he meant like for into actual clowns, but Mercury's back from listening to You've Got It Bad Girl, Love Machine and Synthetic Substitute and Love Can't Turn Around. Love? What the heck is love? Doesn't exist. You know, for more artists sing about a certain thing, but for less, I think it actually exists, you know. Like, you got all these artists talking about their relationships and love lives. I think none of them actually do have one. Everyone in the room is some sorts of neurodivergent, except for Talan, you're neurodivergent. You're the most neurodivergent. You're the most neurodivergent. Yeah! There we go. Putting gloves on. We're getting gloves on. Oh, what do you think is going to be released? Like they're going to show us what's coming out next week. What do you think it's going to be? It's not going to be Armageddon. It's not going to be Yarick. I doubt it's going to be any of the new Ark stuff. So, what would it be though? If I had 10 cents every time someone would call me neurodivergent, I would have 20 cents. Talan, you're the most... Yeah, you are. You are. You're literally a moderator for a Vtuber. Multiple feet. Oh yeah, drank some water. I'm not used to drinking water. I'm only used to drinking cola. Oh no. My body's rejecting for water. It needs cola. 30 cents now. Oh gosh. Don't swear. No. Okay, I've drunk some water and it's not killed me. I hope. There we go. There you go. I forgot to get water. Off a paint pot. Yeah, my paint pot's messy. You can tell where I usually fill this up to, but apparently you're meant to fill it up to like there. But then I'm like, I risk spilling it if I do that. Also, I like how it's got a design doing on like space cups half. So it's very hard to knock over. Not space cups. Why did I say space cups? Ship cups. Yeah, cups that you have on ships. They have these wide bases so they don't fall over easily. By the way, did you see someone leaked the new Avatar movie? Avatar, the movie, the animated movie for The Last Airbender as adults, or Avatar Fire, whatever. Animated movie about older Aang. I heard there was a couple of leaks. No, in fact, they sent it to just some guy. Oops. That doesn't sound good. Can't wait for Avatar Way of Earth. Is that... by the way, I was painting this guy, right? I was doing the yellow on this. Do I need to turn down the brightness a bit? It's very hard to actually see that yellow, isn't it? Although you can see his face better. I've worked hard on his face, but I was painting the yellow here. I was like, careful, careful, then my hand slipped. And you can see where it's got yellow over his collar. It went all over his face, went on this shoulder pad, went on this shoulder pad where I'd done this nice white. Trying to paint these circles is so annoying. These embossed circles. But, you know. I'm going to go listen to Love and Happiness, Conquistadors, and Fantastic Voyage. Bye-bye, Mercury. It was nice of you to pop in. Hope you enjoy your music. Have you heard about the Warhammer show? Yeah, I don't know anything about it other than apparently he's doing a Warhammer show. Which, I mean, might be good, might be bad. I mean, Henry Cavill did Man of Steel, Justice League, The Witcher. So, you know, probably going to be terrible. I liked Man of Steel and the Justice League. I mean, I'd say I liked it. It was okay. Very decent enough. Don't really care for The Witcher, to be honest. Oi. Oi. Oops, accidentally whacked the microphone. I hope it's good and we don't have any LARPer. LARPer? LARPer? I mean, Warhammer's made quite a few Warhammer shows now. They've made Penitence, which was decent enough. They've made plenty of decent enough stuff. There's some that's bad, there's some that's good, there's some that's meh. Pariah Nexus was pretty good. Iron Within was pretty meh. The Knights one wasn't very good. I can't remember what it's even called. Kind of sucked. Penitence was pretty fine. What was the one before it? Oh, Tithes was really good. I liked Tithes. That was amazing. All in all, Cuptle's a good actor, but I'm not a big fan of his. I think isn't... Oh, gosh. There we go. There you go. Hi! Henry Cavill, he's a decent enough actor. He's clearly got a lot of passion for the works that he goes into. And I'm not a big fan of much of his fan base. Like, as much as I liked the Snyder movies, the Snyder fan base is really can be quite vile sometimes, the way they behave. And same goes with some other people, like with the Warhammer show and stuff. It's like, it's got to be a Warhammer show. It's got to either be good, it's got to be bad, or it's got to be meh, and I hope it's good. I mean, Secret Level was pretty good. But It really depends. Like, if it's going to go onto Amazon, is it going to be a long show? Is it going to be a short show? Is it going to be a one-off? Most Warhammer animations at the moment for like 3 10-minute episodes. So we generally don't get a lot of it when it comes to stuff like that. Are they going to tread over ground that's already been tread? Like, is it going to be just a... Are they going to take one of the stories or books or something and turn it into a Warhammer series? Are they going to make a new story specifically for the show? It's like... I don't know much about it. It's gonna be whatever it's gonna be. I don't really particularly have high hopes for it. I mean, Cuttle's been in plenty of questionable stuff. And Warhammer is very roll of a dice if it's gonna be any good or not. If Cupcake was making a Warhammer movie, it would be a documentary of a Hive City. Yeah! And it'll be about the housing crisis in the Hive City. And it'll be like, so you want to buy a new house, but it will only cost you 5,000 Imperial credits. But you only earn 500 a year. Now you can get a loan for 1,500 credits. But you know, you're going to have to pay that back within a year, and it's going to cost you 4,500 to pay it off. So, you know, you could sell your kids for 300 credits. Hello, Night Parade. If Cupcake was big in it, I don't know. Snyder have made like 2 good movies. I don't see why it's got such a cult following. It's because of a Snyder cut. So the movies were undoubtedly made a bit worse by the studio cuts of them. While the Snyder cuts were undoubtedly arguably better. I mean, the fact is they are a bit long. But yeah. Conjur's making a Warhammer movie should make a 3 hours commerce route planning movie, occasionally interrupted by city planning. Yeah! I mean, this is the kind of stuff I want to see. I don't want to see Space Marines. I want to see what it's like living in Imperium. So yeah, I think we're going to do. I think it'll be fine. Probably. Personally, I don't want to, a lot of people are hoping it'll be like super grim, dark and edgy, and honestly, I'm kind of hoping it isn't too much, because sometimes Warhammer goes grim dirt and it's not really meant to be grim dirt as it is. Not when it comes to the stories. Like, if you look at the best stories that Warhammer have made, they're not grim dirt. In fact, a lot of times they can arguably be considered not even that grim dark. You've got Kyphus Kane, which is pretty good. But I mean, as much as you can see the grim dark of a 40k within it, the character himself is not grim dark, and the efforts that the characters go through. It's generally, you know, it's very human. It feels real, it feels very human, and while it's inside a relatively horrible universe, there's periods of light and acceptance within it. And if you read the books, even then it's not half the time, it's not even that grim dark. Like, half the planets he visits are kind of, you know, they're not that bad. We've got normal police forces where people go about relatively normal, mundane lives. The Gaunt's Ghost books, again, they're usually not that grim dark. Most of the characters are, you know, kind of normal humans that are kind of, you know, care about one another. If you look at things like Hell's Reach and like even things of Grimalders and Hellbrecht and the Black Templars and stuff, the stories that actually focus on them aren't even that blooming grimdark. Like, the characters, again, they're kind of compassionate, caring people. I hope we get more of that type of stuff where, yes, they do exist in a sort of dark galaxy, but the characters are ultimately human and they're caring. A mockumentary of like Talon of Valhalla would be pretty cool. That could be funny. But yeah, Catcherton Devil's Book feels like an action movie. I've not seen that one. I've been listening to the Dawn of Fire series. I've listened to the first 2 books now. And honestly, the worst part of the first one is when it decides to go just too grimdark. Like, what is a good part of it? Like, you got a character, right? And this isn't often a type of thing that Warhammer likes to do. And sometimes they pull it off quite well. Other times they don't pull it off well at all. In fact, sometimes it just sucks like this. In which you got a relatively nice story. And for one of the characters that you follow through the entire story, she never really connects to the main story. And her goal throughout the entire first book is to... Well, I mean, she's only in the first book. She's got this very clear goal, this sign for the Emperor that she needs to do something. And ultimately, she fails. She gets there and it's just like she doesn't technically fail. Like, she gets to exactly where she's meant to go, but because of the weird way that the Imperium is, it was all futile and pointless in the end. And it just feels like an absolute waste of time listening to the story or reading it, because it's like, what was the point of this? A fun thing that was in Tithes, and I think it was done best because it's only a 10-minute story. And it's a 10-minute story about the futility. It's the entire Tithes is about the futility and the dark side of the Imperium. And it's Tithes. And the worst one of them, you know, like, the entire thing was just futile. Everyone was died for nothing and struggled for nothing in the end. They did that really well because it was a 10-minute story. It's a 10-minute story about people having to make sacrifices that ultimately mean nothing. And that's good. But when you try expanding that across an entire book, an entire series, an entire story, it becomes just depressing to read and, you know, feels a bit like a waste of time in a way. And Warhammer, sometimes they pull that sort of stuff off well, like with Tithe, sometimes they pull it off badly, like with Avenging Sun. The rest of the story of Avenging Sun is pretty good. And there's lots and lots of sacrifice and struggling and stuff with that, but it's all like trying to... That's a thing that I think Warhammer's at its best. You've got like this very dark galaxy, but the characters are working to try and make it just a little bit brighter. And I think that's where Warhammer stories do their best. Hi, Nanofruit! Books that focus on Trisan and Cord tend to focus on how eccentric they are. They are both surprisingly happy characters. Yeah! A lot of the characters are surprisingly happy in a way. Space Marines are usually kind of depressed, but not always. It's fun whenever you focus on Space Marines and you get like the brotherhood of them. And like this sort of kind of neurodivergent compassion and care for one another and what they're doing. I've seen hella clips of Nebusmek and his insanity. It's so funny. Yeah, first, I don't know. It could really depend how it goes. Oh, and the secret level animation did well. Like, it showed how grimdark 40k was. But again, grimdarkness like that I think is best when it's just like a very short and sweet, or short and dark as it were. When you have to like go through like 3 hours of a TV show or something for it, it's not as fun. What are other books? Last Chances gets very grimdark because that's like all about a penal legion. So it's about prisoners who... It's basically like Bootbeside Squad, but imagine like there's 5,000 people and they get sent into these you know, terrible missions where there's no chance of survival, but every time a bunch of them survive, but each time they go in, less and less survive until like an army of 5,000 people over numerous missions and campaigns is down to like 10 people. And it's just constantly losing friends, losing relationships, the main characters of the story just becoming more and more depressed as everyone they know and love just dies. Now that's kind of grim dark, but all through the while there's like this ray of hope for them that if they just keep fighting, if they just keep moving, they'll eventually get the freedom. And as they do well and stuff, they do get bits of rewards, and you do see, and through their deaths and their sacrifices, it's never futile, or it's very rarely futile. They always like, they go into this horrible mission with no chance of survival, but they succeed. And the galaxy is a little brighter for it. And that's what I like about it. Like, it's really, that's what I think you need. You need that just constant bit of light with a story. It's like, I mean, the Space Marine 2 games, as horrible the entire situation is, in every single mission that you're doing, you're beating back the enemies and you're saving people. Like, you're saving the guardsmen, you're saving your fellows, you're saving the planets. Well, one of the planets is doomed, but through all the campaigns of a planet, you're saving other planets. And that's ultimately what I think needs to be seen. That was so weird for books, because it's like watching genuine sci-fi in the world. Yeah, that's actually pretty fun. And it's also fun to see them trying to adapt to this 40k world. I prefer the 40k horror short stories. Some of them are truly freaky. Yeah, I think I like the horror short stories of 40k. Like, I always enjoyed reading the collections of short stories they did as well. But again, it's like, I think it's definitely much better when it is just a short story rather than... Like, if it is going to be a full-on, like, 6-episode TV series at 40 minutes each episode, like so many of the Prime TV shows, I think it needs to focus more on the humanity side of them. On top of this, it's going to be for Amazon Prime anyway, and I do want it to be successful beyond just Warhammer 40k fanbase. And as a result, it probably would have to be lighter in some regards. Often with Space Marines books, the main character will be very serious, but their closest buffer will be more jovial character or outright practical. Yeah, that is true. Sometimes you will see the main character being more jovial. In Gates of Bones, we see through the eyes of one of the custodians, and he is very open-minded, like for a custodian. But his best friend, he's a bit more jovial, but he's also far less open-minded. Like, he hates the religion of the Imperium. He doesn't care for the general person very well, but he's much more jovial when it comes to his comrades and stuff, which is actually kind of interesting. Like, he cares greatly about his comrades, doesn't care much about anything else. And you also get to see through the eyes of one of the Space Marines, and he is a Imperial Fist, where he's a son of Dawn, but he's not yet been given a proper chapter, but he wants to become a Black Templar because he believes the God Emperor is a god. And what does he do? Oh, he's very jovial. Like, he's a very kind person. He jokes a lot. And some of his brothers aren't so. It's interesting seeing that contrast between them, but you always see this kind of thing where they all care about one another. Like, even the ones that, like, they don't care about civilian casualties or stuff like that, they still care greatly about their brothers. And I think that's what's, like, really needed in the characters. They need to care for one another. And so much in, like, what people want from Grimdark is from them not to care. But that kind of removes the humanity and the ability to connect with them. It's a book from a perspective of Psycho getting hunted by a Colossus assassin. I don't know if it's a book like that. I think there's a book where there's somebody getting hunted by such an assassin, but they're not a psycho. I think there's a book where there's a Tau getting hunted by one. Was it a Coluxus assassin? It might have been. Oh no, it might have been the other type. The crazy one, actually. I've heard stories of Tyranids are really good. Oh, they are. The Last Chances has a short story with Tyranids in like that. They crash onto a planet. No, onto a moon, sorry. And they're inside a crater on a moon. And it turns out the moon had a infestation of Tyranids on it. And they just get like, the ship gets swarmed by Tyranids while they're trying to repair it. And like, you got the people with the flamethrowers and stuff. That's really horrifying. If I remember correctly. I mean, I was only a kid when I read it, so... Tyranid are pure cosmic horror to begin with. Yeah, also the ones with demons in are generally really good horror stories. Stories of the, honestly, heretics and stuff. If you ever get like a character where sometimes you're reading a book, they sometimes might have the point of view of like a random heretic or something. And those are terrifying when you've got like a space marine hunting them or something like that. And they're like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I love it when that type of thing happens. The assassin going for the tower was likely Kaladas. Yeah, I think it was a Kaladas assassin. Oh no, it might have been an Eversaw actually. No, yeah, it was an... I think for one I remember it was an Eversaw assassin because it's still for one that pumps themselves up for the stims and just goes crazy. I think they succeed by exploding themselves. So they lost the assassin, but they also, like, I think it killed the Ethereal. Oh no, did the Ethereal actually die? I can't remember. I think they did. Anything with demons though is also really good for like cosmic horror. Arguably it's a lot better because there's a short story of Kaifus Kane actually with demons, and they were on a planet where they were fighting a small chaos insurgency, but the chaos insurgents had been fighting one another and they weren't sure why. And he was going on a mission. And he found some, like, chaos insurgents. They defeated them. But then they met some women in the forest. And they're like, hey, we've got a building nearby. You should stay here for the night. So they did. And, you know, basically the women were all, Slaneshi people. And he got this thing of, like, there's a voice at the back of his head telling him, like, no, don't trust them, don't trust them. And eventually he's like really trying to listen to this voice, really trying to because he realizes, oh gosh, yeah, there's something going crazy here. But he can't, his body just won't respond to him anymore, even though he's consciously trying to fight against them. And that's kind of scary. And I think it's only at the last minute he finally managed to break the beguilement on him. There's a few, I'm trying to think of a few other things with that. Oh, actually, yeah. Avenging Sun has some good stuff with where they focus more on the horror aspects of the demons and stuff. Especially when it comes to like normal humans trying to fight for demons. And for just having like no hope against them. Like they don't know what they're fighting. For hearing like voices in fact. Oh, and Gate of Bones has some cool stuff like that. Avenging Sun also has a short chapter where it focuses on a man and his platoon, and they're on a world that's been taken over by world eaters, and there's an evacuation going on. And the world is basically just lost at that point, and he's trying to get his surviving soldiers to the evacuation site, and they get attacked by some world eaters. And it's just one heretic Astartes that they're trying to go against. And it's kind of... It's interesting and a bit horrifying at the same time, as the Astartes is like He just stands there for the first few seconds and just like, you know what, since you're weaker than me, do your best to fell me. And it's like, other guns are just being absolutely just bouncing off him. The opening chapter of the novel Fall of Damos shows a mining colony being attacked by Necrons. That was horrifying. Ooh, the Necron codexes are great for that type of stuff. I think it's a 3rd edition Necron codex. There's a couple of really good short stories in it. I think 3rd edition Imperial Guardsman codex also has one. Or is it 4th edition? No, actually, probably be 5th edition. I think they didn't have a 4th edition one. I think there's a short story in one of those ones about Necrons attacking a world. And yeah, any sort of like short thing with the Necrons is always just... Deluxe's assassins specifically going for Psychers is scary. Yeah, it was a Kaladas, essentially. But yeah. I think... Anyway, we need to paint. We need to also be painting. Oh, by the way, I got some contrast medium and some Lamia medium, partly just in hopes that I can revive some of my paints. I put some in my Black Templar contrast, and honestly, it's helped revive it quite a bit. But also, I put some in my Wraithbone. Some Lamia medium in my Wraithbone paint, and it's really, really, really good. Like, it's revived it a little bit, I can tell you that much. But also, it's helped the paint go on so much smoother. It's not amazing. I'm gonna have to just lower the brightness a little bit because it's a bit too bright here. Not window capture, video capture. Configure video. If you got epilepsy, look away while I'm doing this. There we go. Yeah. I've been trying to make it go... It's hard to show you here, but I've been trying to make it go on. Well, you can see it's definitely smoother than the last attempts. Unfortunately, I did accidentally, when I was painting the yellow, I kind of dropped the miniature and my brush went all across the face and the shoulder pad. So I ended up having to go a bit thicker with the yellow here. And trying to get this black circle correct, again, I ended up having to go a bit thicker with the white on top of it to cover it up where I make mistakes. But yeah, it's really helped just to make the white just a lot smoother and a lot nicer to work with. And it's not made it like transparent. All it took was 2 layers of a white to get this, to make it kind of nice and smooth, or to get a good finish on it, sorry. Which is no more layers than usual. In fact, it's a little bit less than normal. So yeah, Lamia medium is absolutely amazing. Oh, so one of the Carcharodon novels has them fighting Night Lords on a prison planet. You see some of the events from normal human perspectives. Ooh. Yeah, that would be terrifying. What was... I've been listening to Mark of Faith. I started that one, and that's some of the perspectives of Sisters of Battle. Not that horrifying at the moment. A lot of the book has been just talking. Well, they did start with demons attacking, and even the sisters struggling to fight against the demons. Okay, what do we need to do? We need to do some brown on this thing, Questoris brown. We need to do some red here. We need to get the gold and bronzy colours done. And I need to get I forgot to do the knee pads when I was doing the rest of this. Colux's assassins, funnily enough, are used against Psychers and demons, especially since demons can't see them too well, and the Coluxus can destroy them. Yeah, I have seen the Colux's assassin going after other targets as well. Because don't forget, a Coluxus assassin can still use their mind attack to just absolutely blow a person's mind to pieces. And they're very good for going unnoticed. Let me get some of this stuff, though. Needed water, otherwise I can't clean my bushes. Ooh, I've done something fun. I got myself a new... I've heard that these STC artificial brushes from Games Workshop are pretty good. I've put some, oh gosh, I've put some VO5 matte clay on it because that's what people have recommended to do. The Coluxus was the first assassin you got. Ooh, my favourite assassin is either the Eversaw or the Vindicator. Oh yeah, I can see why people like these brushes. It's got a very firm tip. Yeah, I've got one of these. And also, I tried reviving some of my old brushes. So I couldn't get all the paint off them. But what I did find is that by putting them in hot water and putting some matte clay on them, you know, I've actually got them, you know, working again. With some dish soap. So what I did, I heated water in the kettle to, like, you know, basically boiling. And put some vinegar in for water. Well, poured it into a pot. Put some vinegar in it. I've just, like, swirled them around it for a little while. Put some dish soap on them first. And, you know, it's worked. And then put a small amount of matte clay on them. It's still not amazing, mind you, if I'm entirely honest. But, you know, it's better than nothing. The brushes were basically dead anyway. So, on a related note, they are pretty good at killing demons with tabletop, since most demons are psychers for anti-psycho and devastating wound against most demons, not coordinate demons. Yeah! Do I want to use this brush? No, I want to use the other brush. Where did I put that brush? This one. That's a pretty brush. So let's go with some magnifying glass. I forgot about it. And you're also forgetting something here. Is that light on? It is on. Oh, that's the way I guess I could show this off. Turn this off. Refocus. Oh yeah, also I've got his face. No, come on. Yeah. You can see that's a surprisingly smooth finish of a white. Don't usually get it that smooth. But yeah, also, do you like this face? I've worked hard on that face. You can see I even painted his eyes. This is my first time trying to do a scar like that, and I think I did pretty well. What I want to do the white on these knee pads now. I'll bring this over to here. Let me move some of these paints out my way. So yeah, we're finally getting, after 45 minutes, finally getting our first bit of paint on our model. So when painting thin layers onto a model, you'll want to wait for it to fully dry, especially with things like white paints. Because it's just going to be just continually streaky if you don't wait for it to dry. You just white paint one layer on one model, then another layer of the neck. Yeah. Got to be a little bit streaky anyway. There we go. One of the things is, I'm thinking about potentially changing the way I do for black armor. Because I've not been too happy with the black armor as of late. Oh gosh, I messed that one up there. I think that it looked kind of meh. There we go. And let's go for our second layer on from now. We're going to get a nice finish. I might have to do another layer of that one. dry. Okay. We'll leave it for a little bit to fully dry. I think what we need next is if we just get some iodine yellow. Oh, if you're wondering how I did for yellow on this guy's arm, it was just... I think I should have gone with my Administratum Grey on top of the knee pad first. But for this, I did iodine yellow over my Mechanica Standard. That was already dry brushed with Paraxi White. Then I went Avalon Sunset over it, one layer. Then a second layer of Avalon Sunset. And for edges, it's just Dawn Yellow. And it's not just over the edges. I tried doing like scratches along it, so it's not highlighting. Instead, it's trying to do wear on the armor. And obviously, the most wear is going to be on the edges of the armor, where it's going to be catching on stuff. And what I'm thinking I want to do is get something like Agrax Earthshade, and again, just go along those edges. Just maybe not Agrax Earthshade. Maybe actually, I have an idea. I got Typhus Corrosion here. This could be good to work with. If I just get a very, very small amount on my brush. Go just... drape it along the edges a little bit. Just add a bit of, you know, grime to the model effectively. Try and... because wear and tear isn't just going to make the armor like the paint chip away and stuff. It's going to put grime on it. Not a great deal of grime, just enough to make it feel... the grime's not going to just be in all the joints, it's going to be on raised areas too. So... hence why I don't want to actually use Agrax Earthshade, which will try to go into the joints. Of the recesses of a model. I want it where the dirt's going to be catching the model. Like, imagine you're going into battle, your armor, there's an explosion. Not going to all settle in the recesses, it's going to stick where it lands. Typhus Corrosion has actually been a surprisingly good addition to my arsenal of paints. Especially since I have a more grimdark style of painting compared to some. Yeah, that helps. And the other thing about the Typhus Corrosion is that it just all in all just darkens the model a little bit to bring it into line with the rest of the model. Hi TA, how you doing? So what do I want now? I want my iodine yellow. I like when I'm doing golds and bronze and stuff. I like to first just go over all of the areas with iodine yellow to give it like a kind of base coat. A rough base coat. Oh, well, that's something I forgot. I did the... yeah, I didn't do that in white. That's just Administratum Grey. Oh no! Do you have hay fever? You're being all sneezy. Being all sneezy. It's not fun. I've been having to start taking my hay fever tablets again. Those pollen count has been rising. Yeah, I should have gone with Administratum Standard. I just thought I'd skip a step, but no. Using Administratum Standard Grey as the base, it goes on a lot easier than white paint does. But it's a very nice base count for white paint. It doesn't chalk up like white paint does as much, because it's just grey. Your beard have potentially caught something. Oh no, that's not fun. You've only just gone over an illness, haven't you? Come on, screen. My screen turned off. I apologise. Iodine yellow. Let's get for iodine yellow. How's that looking? Need to shake it better. Shake some more. Do. I tried reviving my Corvex White, but that's not seemed to have gone well at all. Yeah, it's still a big old lumpy mess. In fact, I'm thinking. Oh. I'm thinking about just pouring a cup of, really hot water and then just plonking this in the middle of it and hoping that would break it down. But let's give this a good old shake. Shaky. Who needs a vortex shaker when you just get a good old arm workout instead? Okay, how's that looking at the bottom? Let's give it a bit more of a shake. As good as contrast paints are, the pigment does get stuck into the... Oops, gosh, just whacked that right in. Okay, then just vortex it around a bit. Is it still in the corners and the edges? No, it looks fine. Yeah. Okay, let's carefully go over and do the gold. One of the reasons I like using iodine is it's not too bright, but also when it dries, it feels a bit like it automatically tries doing non-metallic metally colour. Especially over a dry brush area. So that means that when I'm going over with my gold, I don't feel the same need to completely cover the area where it's on. And I can go over with thinner layers. Like, look at that. Pretty fun. Also, usually, because it's not a very strong colour, it's not going to really tinge anything when you go out of the lines. So I decided to do the entire edge of that gold, but it's fine. It can just be gold if it wants to. It can leave its friends behind, because if they don't want to be gold, then they're no friends of mine. Yeah. I've been looking up and trying to learn different paint styles recently. Especially official ones, but I've also been looking at others. I see a lot of, these volumetric highlighting and stuff. I think it looks kind of cool, but at the same time, it makes the model look kind of not very readable unless you're really close to it. I'm not the biggest fan of it. Also, it really helps if you use a sponge or airbrush. I don't use either. Although I might try learning how to use a sponge or makeup brush. Do gradient. Yeah, I feel like this guy had to have some extra Templari stuff on him to make up for the Imperial Fist Arm. And shoulder pad. Oh yeah, if you don't know why I do that, it's just because it's to represent that he once fought alongside the Imperial Fists. And he wears an Imperial Fist symbol and paints one of his armor pieces in their colours in honour of the battle brothers he fought alongside. Although with a more recent idea of the lore of my chapter, because these guys aren't just Templars now, they're the reclaimed blades. And their job and duty is to go on crusades in efforts to reclaim Imperial technology. Well, relics, archaeotech, including new, more modern tech, and also worlds. And the worlds that they capture are effectively handed over to the Adeptus Mechanicus. Not every single world, but a lot of them are. Some of them they turn into fortress worlds of their own. Well, it'd be funny if there's a rogue trader working with them. That could be good. Yeah, because I've been thinking I want to kind of make a rogue tradery army. Oh gosh, it's so silly. A rogue trader whose job is to follow around a crusade and, you know, manage worlds that the crusade captures. But yeah, they're in the Nihilus, Imperial Nihilus. Kind of stranded there. Kind of not. We're kind of there by choice, kind of stranded there, so they don't really have much choice if they want to be there or not. And they're effectively trying to bring the Imperium's light to parts of Imperium Nihilus. But it's one of the reasons why, do you know, everyone is kind of so fancy. Like, this is just a generic crusade, and look at him, he's got golden chains, golden aquila, these cool things. They have veteran power fists. We've got the fancy shoulder blades and honours, and everyone has like little relics on them, and this guy's wearing like a Saturn ancient relic helmet. Are they just standard Crusaders? So it makes sense that, like, you know, they just constantly... The Crusades' main focus is to recapture relics and archaeotech. It's particularly archaeotech to do with the Space Marines. Because their chapter and was originally found by the Audio Astartes. With the goal of... They weren't really aware of the goal originally. Like, they were just some Templars and some other Sons of Dawn who had been acquired by an Audio Astartes. And a tech priest from Carl's personal, you know, entourage. And their goal was effectively go to this planet that's in the northeast of the galaxy. This is before the Great Rift and the Primaris came about. And just, you know, capture this one planet had fallen to chaos and secure a very particular thing that's on the planet that these guys weren't aware of at the time. Of what it was, just that they had to secure it from chaos and make sure it didn't fall into chaos hands. But it turned out it's one of the caches of the, you know, Primaris Marines and their technologies. And they had to make sure it didn't fall into chaos hands. But then, during their campaign, the Great Rift opened up. And the Inquisitor was then like, okay, we're going to awaken the Marines. And we're going to form you guys into a new chapter. Many of the people still view themselves as Black Templars, though, rather than a new chapter. Like, being a new chapter was kind of forced upon them. There we go. Oh yeah. My dudes are super fancy. There we go. And because I have realised while painting them that it's like, yeah. Usually it's like, it's only for first company, like in a chapter that, you know, has all sorts of gold and fancy stuff on them. I do know for veterans, I think it's just like, yeah, every single one of my Templars just has gold on them. They've got cool stuff. They got relic weapons and equipment. Because I think it looks cool. And, you know, I've got all these spare bits. Might as well use them. There we go. Oh, it's coming together ever so slowly. Ever so slowly. Maybe I should just do all the gold next. Still got the knee pads to do a bit. Okay, look how fancy that shoulder pad is. And that's going to be all gold where it's grey here. It's just all of this bit. Going to be gold. I'm not stinky! Yeah, give me those head pats. Give me them head pats. I was like, hi, Mal. Who is the elder? There we go.
Go back to being Tamarakan.
No! We finished the campaign. We captured Norn. There's no need to do any more. Our goal was to capture Norn, and we achieved our goal. If I play as Tarmakan again, all I'll be doing... Like, I not only achieved my goal, but we secured our borders. We had an alliance with a Slanesh character. Why did it turn me into a worm? We secured an alliance with a Slanesh character who was destroying the vampires for us, and we destroyed their main armies relatively quickly. We beat Vicious down to nothing pretty much. There's literally nothing else for us to do. I mean, we could take over the world, but I think that would be kind of boring and repetitive. Hi, Paint Games, how you doing? I'm not Tarmakan in disguise. I'm thinking if I do go back to Warhammer Total War 3, I'll probably play as Saul with the aim of probably taking out Archeon. I think that would be a really fun goal. Like, leave Village just to take on Cafe and stuff. If Tarmakan is a worm and you can turn into... No, he's a maggot, not a worm. I'm more of a snake. Hi, Douglas. I'm doing good. Have been to Mountain Skiing. How about you? I've been at home. I've been painting. We've been talking about various stuff, actually, like what we want to see in the new Henry Cavill-led project for Warhammer. Oh, I didn't paint that white. Yeah, that's cross is meant to be white. Oops. It's grey still. Well, I can get to it eventually. Yeah, it's going to be gold there. What's the difference between a worm and a maggot? Well, a maggot eventually turns into a fly or, you know, other insect. It's just the larval stage of an animal. A worm is its entire life cycle. Worms also generally grow very long, and they generally live underground. Maggots generally live in dead creatures above the ground, or in lots of like refuge, like lots of dead plant matter, like a compost bin or something. One of the reasons why they're like associated with disease and death. Tarmakan's maggot form is generally quite fat. far as I'm aware. I'm gonna try. I'm doing some sculpting. I'm gonna try and get my retro witches done. Nice. I am. We've been doing some painting. Just some painting. I've been trying. I painted this black circle. It's so difficult to do that deposit circle. His arm's pretty much finished, and so is his head. We just need to make sure we don't accidentally mess them up. Oh, I just had an idea that I think's cool. If we ever get a Dawn model, I might convert one of these Custody Contemptor Dreadnoughts into a Space Marine Dreadnought. Like, put the big claw from a commander on this guy. Like, make another big claw. Give it a big old flowing cape. Oh, that would be so cool. Oh, then perhaps put the, like, this in, like, its other hand or something. Ooh, put a sword in its other hand. That could be good. Or like a shield. And then run it as a Dawn proxy. Maybe replace the head as well. With a Space Marine head. And then like have Captain Orderic like took serious damage. And they put him in a relic dreadnought. Assuming you can run Dawn in a Templar list if they do bring Dawn back. Which I hope you do. They do. If they do bring him back, that is. It seems they want to bring Perty back. It'd be weird to bring him back with not Dawn. You started doing faces with makeup. Witches wear makeup. I don't thought they cared for the stuff. I'm doing them, so... It's a witch cult that's like, you know, if we're beating up the enemy, we might as well look good doing it. There we go. Oh, look at them. If you wonder how I do the shadows on white, it's literally just using Apothecary White. Which is more of a grey contrast colour. But it works. I have no knowledge of Dark Elder lore except they are very bad and doing so to avoid Slanesh. Kind of. So, Dark Elder lore has changed a little bit over the years. Witch cults are effectively gladiators. they don't wear much armor at all, partly because they want to just like focus on, you know, their Eldar agility and just dodge everything. But one of the other things is that they're gladiators.
If those Black Templars could read, they'd be very upset right now.
Like, why would they be upset right now? Ow! I just dropped something on my neck. But so for witch cults, oh yeah, for the reason they don't wear much armor is partly because they get like an acceleration from it, because they're going into battle, they're showing that they're so much stronger than you, they're better than you, they're faster than you, they don't need armor. But some of it's also just like the acceleration of, if they're wearing armor, you know, they can get hit. If they get hit, but they might survive. It's also a bit of an intimidation tactic. But they're usually the ones that you've seen, like the gladiator arenas and stuff, fighting against the different enemies that come in. Because what they'll do is they'll bring in different enemies like Space Marines, Skilled Guardsmen, monsters, Tyranids. Not usually Tyranids, but what they do is then they invite like everybody. Well, maybe not everybody, but like where they hold the gladiatorial match, like tens of thousands, if not potentially even millions of people will come and watch a gladiator match. As they, bit by bit, like they use whips and barbs and like small knives so that they can just cut and bleed and hurt the creature for attacking over and over and over again. Just bit by bit, just taking them out. And as they do, this creature suffers, and the Dark Eldar all feed upon that suffering. And that's how, like, your average Dark Eldar citizen, like, keeps their soul invigorated. They go and watch the gladiatorial matches, and they feed upon the suffering of those fighting them. And this includes the witches. Like, if you start hurting and killing the witches, they'll start feeding on the suffering. Of the witches themselves. Which is another reason for them to not wear armor. At least that used to be the kind of law for them. They also use poisons and stuff in their equipment as well. One of the other reasons they do that is like when they're doing their raiding battles, they'll be whipping the enemy with poison barbs and stuff like that. Because the intent isn't to actually kill the enemy. Instead, it's only to, one, make them suffer so that they can feed on it while raiding. But two, to capture them. So, yeah, they'll have nets, they'll have barbs, they'll have all sorts of stuff. But a lot of it's also not just that. It's the same way that the aspect warriors for the normal craft road elder work. In which, a lot of the time, elders just want to dedicate themselves to doing something. And for witches, they dedicate themselves to combat and just becoming better and better at combat. In the same way an aspect warrior dedicates themselves to do that. And you've got different types of witches of that regard. You've got the Reavers, which are the Hellions, sorry, which ride their green goblin looking stuff. I think you got, they're called Reavers, aren't they, for ones and for bites. The Scourges, I don't think are witches, are they, for flying ones? I think they're Cuptle warriors. And you've got the beast tamers, obviously, as well. Each one is an important aspect of a witch cult. Although I don't have a beast tamers anymore. Sadly. Hope GW brings back the card of Archon and makes the Tantalus a plastic kit. Yeah, that would be cool. I also really want them to bring back some of the beasts and the grotesque. I think that would be super fun. I'm really hoping 11th brings a Eldar refresh, a Grey Knights refresh, and it looks like it's going to bring an Arc refresh, which is good. Well, Arcs I've had one recently. Their refresh absolutely sucked. I mean, other factions could do with can deal with monopose and stuff, but Arcs don't want to be monopose. They want to be super custom kits. Like, that's the entire point of playing Arcs. It's a customization for kit bashing and stuff. But yeah, not every single Eldar actually really, Dark Eldar, sorry, enjoys all the suffering and pain that they cause. But most of them do. Or at least they convince themselves that they do. Dark Eldar, though, they're cool. They are effectively without number. Like, for Eldar meant to be a dying race, you have a Dark Eldar aren't. There's trillions upon trillions upon trillions of people living in Commonwealth. Yeah, I'm hoping the Beastmasters come back as a kill team, because I think it'll be an amazing kill team. But Grotesque, I hope just get a proper release in plastic. And for what they called, the Sylphs or whatever. Do you know the Xenos Warriors of the Dark Eldar? I hope they get some stuff. I think they should bring them back because they are slowly, just one by one, trying to bring back all the old metal and resin kits into plastic. With a few exceptions like Space Marine kits that they're trying just to make Primaris equivalents instead. And by resin, they're mostly doing resin as in the fine cast resin. I doubt we're going to see any Elysian drop troops, unfortunately. We don't have any breaks of those Dark Eldars. Yeah. Unfortunately, the Dark Eldar probably the codex that suffered the most over the time. In terms of Necrons, when I first started playing, I believe Necrons, the only things that they had were the 2 Khitan. 2 of them, they didn't have a Fire Dragon. Necron Warriors. Immortals were their elite unit. Like, they were literally considered an elite unit. You then had basic destroyers, but you didn't have heavy destroyers. And you didn't have any of the other types of destroyers. You just had the one floaty destroyer. And you could turn one into a destroyer lord if you wanted. You had the flayed ones. And you had the monolith. And that was and the Necron Lord, and I think maybe the Cryptek, and you had Scarabs as well. Tomb Spider, you had a Tomb Spider. But you didn't have like the Death Marks, you didn't have the cool Guardians. But for a lot of units that they just didn't have back then. You didn't have the Doomsday Arcs, you didn't have the giant crawly things. There are a few units you've lost, but all of them were resin units. So like Forge Road resin. And as a result, that doesn't really matter too much. Most of them you can't even use in normal games back then. Eldar were fun. Eldar haven't really lost much except just a couple of Forge World resin models. Dark Eldar, on the other hand, they've lost their Grotesque, they've lost their Beastmasters, they've lost their Card of Archon. I don't like other factions who have at least gained other stuff at the same time they've been losing things. They've not like... Okay, Eldar lost a couple of cool units, but they gained Corsairs in exchange. And they gained the Yannari stuff in exchange. And we regained Harlequins. Who else lost some really cool units? Tyranids lost a bunch of stuff, but in exchange they gained, you know, the... And they've regained a lot of the stuff they lost, like the Red Terror. But what else have they gained? They gained the Non-Emissaries, well, for both of the Nons. They've gained Von Ryan Leapers, Barbagants, Neurogants, Neuro Tyrants, the Screamer Killer. The Parasite of Mortrex. They've gained a lot of cool models over time. Oh yeah, and you've lost like most of your named characters for Dark Eldar. You don't even have your main named character, it's stupid. You know what they didn't gain? So actually, Tyranids are one of the biggest selling Warhammer factions. It's why they would, you know, especially of 10th edition and early 10th edition. I mean, for the starter set, for goodness sake. In fact, Tyranids have been at the forefront of the two major iterations of Warhammer popularity. So the 2 times that 40k became super popular and gained a hell of a lot of fans was 4th edition, which had a Battle of Macragge, Tyranids were the face of the main enemy back then. And then 10th edition with Leviathan and Tyranids were once again the face of it. Both of them saw probably the biggest peaks or did the biggest spikes in terms of Warhammer sales and more people playing. I think 4th edition saw the Warhammer 40k community like, I'd say quadruple, but I think it was like even more than that. I think it was more like, maybe not quite as much as 10 times, but it's like 6-7 times as many people were playing at the end of 4th edition than at the start. And 10th edition, within the first few months, I think they had something like double the sales or something compared to like the start of 9th edition. Tyranids are regularly one of the biggest selling ones. I mean, obviously in 10th edition they're going to be, because most people who start the game, they're either going to be buying the Leviathan box, or not a Leviathan, they're going to be either buying the starter set that has Tyranids in, and as a result they're likely to buy more Tyranids, or they're going to buy like the painting set, and if they're either going to buy the painting set that has the Infernus Marines in, which results in more Space Marine sales down the line, or the painting set with the Tyranids in, which is likely to result in more Tyranid sales down the line. Despite how the Tyranid Combat Patrol currently is considered a kind of meh one, it is constantly selling out. And despite how the old Combat Patrol was one that you should never buy, it sold out pretty regularly. Unlimited swarm of bugs equals unlimited sales. Yeah. On top of this, people like aliens. So, you know. Obviously, if we're going to buy... If you want to look at it, though, just look at how often certain products go out of stock and stuff. There's one single guy who buys over 200 models. How far to my 5k army? Dark Eldar and Grey Knights are the two least selling factions of Warhammer models. 40k, sorry. After that, Eldari are kind of semi-popular. They got a lot of people who have Eldari, but very few people make massive armies of Eldari. Tyrannid and Space Marine players and Arc players are probably the three factions that do the most, as in like terms of just people buying models. So their players buy the most models, not necessarily because they always have the most players, but because the players just don't stop buying models for them. Necrons don't have as many players as Eldar, but they do still sell quite regularly, I believe. In fact, if you want to see it, you can look at the... It won't give you a full look because it won't include like a lot of casual players. But you've got that entire thing of where you can see like the win rates of different factions, and it shows you how many games are played with each faction. And as a suit, that's a good indicator for how much they're selling. But yeah. Arcs are very popular. Photon are surprisingly popular. It's hard to tell by the sales though, like how much things go out to stock. Because obviously for each of their boxes, they're producing different amounts of stock for them. So if they underestimate the sales of a Photon, obviously they're going to be going out to stock quite regularly. But if they overestimate them, they're not going out to stock. But generally it's a relatively good way of telling just how much they're selling. A hive mind has its ways. Tau used to be one of the least popular factions, but it actually sells pretty well now. Sisters of Batu were also a pretty unpopular faction for a while. But they sell well enough. You can also tell generally by how often they get new kits and stuff. Guardsmen sell pretty well, so they get quite a few new kits. Space Marines obviously sell super well. They constantly get to new kits. Dark Eldar don't sell super well, so they don't get new kits, which unfortunately only hurts the sales. That being said, Dark Eldar have been getting a few combat patrols. Not that the combat patrols sell out very quickly, but they have been getting new combat patrols nonetheless. Which suggests that Games Workshop does have some support for them and to continue supporting them. Whereas Grey Knights have not seen very much. I've seen a few Grey Knight back to reports though. They do seem popular amongst the, you know, the staff. They lose every back to report for him, but... Oh, I've been watching Age of Sigmar back to reports. And it's also helped explain to me why for people... Because the people playing for Age of Sigmar back to reports are the same people playing for 40k back to reports. It's helped explain to me, like, why they make some of the silly decisions they do when they're playing 40k. It's because of how Age of Sigmar works. It's like, that would actually be a good play in Age of Sigmar, but in 40k it's a very bad play. I wonder if I can figure out how a popular faction is by how often they get new kits. I mean, it's not always the case.
Mum, when you go to sleep, do you allow your feet to dangle off the end of the bed, or your hands off the edge?
Usually not, although sometimes I do if it's super, super warm. I mean, if I lie flat, I mean, I'm super tall, like, it's very hard to not have my feet just, like, dangling off the edge or whatever. But I usually curl up into a ball. Oh no, the new model thing isn't always a good idea for how popular they are. For instance, Chaos got a bunch of new models. And outside of the new Defiler, they weren't very popular at all. They didn't sell out very well for any of them, which suggested Games Workshop massively overestimated how valuable
Look out for the
Chaos was.
cupcake-eating monster under your bed.
No! I don't have a monster that can fit under my bed. I don't have one of... I have to, you know, a proper, you know, thick, solid bed base. And it has a bunch of drawers. So drawers are full of books. And Yu-Gi-Oh! And clothes. But yeah. Chaos like gets quite often gets new releases and stuff, but based on how how well they sell out and stuff and how long they stay around, like even for limited boxes often stay around. They don't sell out very well. Alternatively, you've got Custodies who very rarely get new box sets. And they broke the internet, my goodness. Like, every single website that sold Warhammer when the Custody Battle Group went on sale died. Like, for about half an hour, like, Cloudflare was having issues. That's how bad it was. Like, every single website that was using Cloudflare at the time was just, like, suffering a bit of lag. That's how bad the Custodies release was. And for about half an hour. So you know that's popular. But they don't really get very many boxes. Like, you had various servers and stuff just struggling to take it. The Defilers were not quite as bad. But they did sell out super quickly. And they get releases quite often. Then you've got Knights. Knights don't really sell out very quickly, but they do get quite often new releases. Like, you've got the Knights Questoris, then you had the release earlier with the new Knight. You've got the new Knight now for Destria. So it's last one standing, and that's why I use a 3D printer. I don't have a 3D printer. Cheap, faster, and as a bonus it hurts GW. What? No, don't hurt GW. They need my money so they can fund more Warhammer. Using the left drawer. The left drawer is full of books. In fact, it's such a heavy drawer that it's really, really hard to open. Every cent given to GW is a cent given to running an orphanage grinding machine. Yeah! See, exactly. Why would you want to hurt GW? They grind orphans. They don't grind orphans. Oh gosh, I need to just run away quickly. I need to use a little cupcake room. I'll be. I apologize, my tummy's been a bit weird today. If DW has money, they have a higher likelihood of making Eldar. True. Buy all the Eldar stuff. But I'll be right back. Smash! Hello! Where am I? I'm here. Hi. You need a glove. Glove, 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 glove. Glove, glove. Oh, maybe I'll try using my new brush. See how that is with its matte gel. No, it's not. It's got matte clay, matte hair clay on it. Okay, so you go on your thing there. There we go. Grab this. Ugh. And let's try it out. It's not too bad actually. Oh gosh, I just realised this loop here is broken. Ah, surprising. Okay, the firmness of the synthetic brushes is really good for doing details, even if it's not as thin of a point. Because it won't try splaying out as much when I'm putting it onto the model. Oh yeah, it's really good with that actually. It just goes exactly where you want it and nowhere else. Assuming you keep your hand steady enough to just have it exactly where you want it. Which is a task in of itself. Oh yeah, way better. I think the clay is helping as well. So yeah, if you want to know how to take care of artificial brushes, literally just rub a little bit of dish soap into them. Hi Tony! Put it on a kettle or boil up some water. Boil it, not just hot water. Put it into a container and then just swirl around your brush in it for a few seconds. Oh no, put some vinegar, white vinegar, into it. And there, because it's the acid that's important. And then what do you want to do once you got your white vinegar? Yes, swirl your brush around in it. And dry it off on like a rag. And then... what do you do then? Oh yeah, you just put your matte clay on it and leave it for 24 hours. Just a tiny, tiny bit. And you just form it into a point in like the palm of your hand. Like, you know, the crease of it. I used a Feel 5 matte clay because that's what the YouTube video said was good. I thought it's like, I'd rather not experiment. It's cheap enough. Oh gosh, I am completely missing a bit though. Yeah, going over the lines as it were. There's a suck. I can fix that later with some Abaddon black. Ow! Whack my head against the pop filter product. I didn't even whack my head. I whacked my headphones against it. There we go. Yeah. I am a genius, geniusing all around. Genius, genius. Oh my gosh. God darn it. I thought that was where I was meant to paint them, but it wasn't. Okay, chains. Do. Need more paint on the brush. Darn it, missed that bit there. I can always fix it. We'll just put some of the purple on it later. It's very different from the usual brushes you use, this brush. I'm not used to the firmness of it. Hi, Albathon, how you doing? There we go. We're doing some nice gold. Well, that's what I wanted to do. Let me get one of my models. Reference model. Oh yeah, have we given these guys names? Did we give them names? We need names of these three. Yeah, so this is a colour scheme we're going for. I might try changing how I do the armour. As well, I do like the armour. I do think it looks a bit weird. Like the black of the armour. Yeah, if we would do why we got the Imperial Fist, it's because he served alongside the Imperial Fists. And now he wears their symbol and colour on one arm to honour his battle brothers from a different chapter. Yeah. Oh, we got the fanciest Marines. My gosh, they do look fancy though. How fancy do you want your Templars to be? The answer was yes. There's so much gold on them. Might as well be custodians at this point. I do like how Space Marines from different chapters and different gene seeds, rather, call one another cousins. Rather than brother. What a nice looking yellow. Hi, Shadow. Yeah, it is. So if you want to know how a doof did this yellow, we started with Mechanica Standard. We dry brushed Waxy White over it. Then I went with Iodine Yellow. Contrast, just one layer of it. And then over that I did 2 layers of Athlon Sunset. Then highlighted the edges. Well, it's not just edge highlighting. I'm trying to do wear and tear, so I purposely tried to make it look a bit like scratches. So I just go like over the edges with Rogel Dawn, with Dawn Yellow, sorry, which is this one. And then the final bit of work we did on the yellow was Typhus Corrosion, just very, very, very light work along the edges and across some of the model to just try and give it like some dirt and grimy feel to it. When are you switching completely to Imperial Fist? We're not switching completely to Imperial Fist. Never. This guy just served alongside the Imperial Fist and is honouring his that 2 brothers that he fought and died alongside him. We've got a few other Marines who'll be the same. Do you like the Death Watch? I do. I'm thinking about getting some Death Watch models. My Plasma Battle line has a squad of Death Watch in them. And the main thing I'm thinking about it is that they are ex-Death Watch, so these are people who... And when I get the kit, I can then use like spare shoulder pads and stuff on other Marines to show that they're ex-Death Watch too. Magnifying glass. Nice. And then there's a bullet case here. Let's see. We need to do very tiny detail. Let's look how this DW brush does this tiny detail here. Does it pretty well, actually. Oh, I shouldn't be doing the chain in Rogel. In Vtuber. I might as well just continue. Started, I'll continue. Yeah, that bullet's not going to look obvious at all next to the yellow. Now, if you do want to change the yellow colour to a more bright yellow, less orange to it, you can do the exact same mixture but replace the second layer, or maybe just go over the second layer with a different colour of yellow, whatever yellow you want to go with. I prefer the more orange colour to the yellow though. I like it. It's warm. Imperial fists are meant to be kind of warm. They're not cold. Rogo, dun, 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 dun. Rogo, dun, do, do, do. He's the coolest Primarch. He's a Primarch everyone wants to do. He's a Primarch, do, 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 do. By the way, I bought some paint stuff, and look what they sent me. Look what they sent me with my paints. And a second one. And a third one. Oh, so evil. Iron Warriors. Although I did buy some more paints, they sent me this instead. You know, that's better. Yeah. Sending Iron Warrior stickers to a Templar player. Oh. I'm not actually upset about it. I think it's pretty funny. But it's fun to play the upset person, you know, sometimes. Fun to pretend I have that range of emotions. The only emotion I know is the emotion of enjoying being a cupcake. What is it there? Okay. Hello again. Hello again. How you do? Wait, what time is it? Oh, it's 6:06. You know what that means? Website next week. Oh, it's a City of Ash box set that's coming out for Age of Sigmar, and it's got all the new Ashen stuff and Cities of Sigmar stuff in it. Oh, they're also releasing a new spearhead for these guys, Oceanic Bone Reapers, for some reason. Wait, is that a spear? That looks a bit big for a spearhead, doesn't it? What's this? Hive limited edition. Ooh, it's a book about a hive world. Ooh. And more Warhammer Plus stuff. Law Masters, Ultimate Paint Off, Arena of Death. Yeah. But Age of Sigmar. Good, watching Kingdom of Hearts again. Nice. I hope Briar's doing well. And having a fun time. So yeah, Age of Sigmar seems pretty fun actually. Watching for Battle Report. It runs very differently though, like the game is both more and less lethal, it feels like. Like, ward saves can be taken after armor saves. A bit like Feel No Pain. And pretty common ward saves, there's a lot of ways to get them. Feels more common than Feel No Pain anyway. But one of the things I've noticed is like so far I've watched 2 Gloomspite games. One versus Beast of Chaos, one versus the Ghost faction. I can't remember what they're called. Night Haunt, I think. Then I've watched one game against Tyranids? No. Obviously not Tyranids. Oh yeah, one game of Troggovs versus Age of Sigmar Marines. Stormcast Eternals, that's it. And Khorne versus Stormcast Eternals. And then a game of Orruk Warclans, the Gut Rippers ones, versus Daughters of Cain. And one of the things I've noticed about the game in comparison to like 40k is that often you have like units just coming back. Like, hey, I've wiped out a bunch of models from this unit. And they're just like, okay, I'm bringing them back. It's like, oh, you've wiped out this unit. Well, it's coming back. Or half of it's coming back. Oh, I've taken a bunch of wounds. Well, I'm just going to heal them back. It's like, compared to 40k, not many factions can, you know, just heal up for damage. And even when they can heal damage, they're not healing like 6 wounds. Or at least not easily. And they're not repeatedly bringing the same units back. But this gives you games a sense of lethality without them actually being all that lethal. Well, thanks for popping in Alibeth on Despia. Nice having you here. Okay, we're painting boat buckles. Yeah. One of the things it allows you to go for super risky plays. And to do stuff like, one of the games I was watching, it was Troggovs. No, it wasn't Troggovs. It was Bloom Spike Gits, and they had a unit of Troggovs. And they just threw the unit of Troggovs into the middle of a battlefield. And the Troggovs just basically stayed there, just holding up the middle of a battlefield for the entire game. Because the enemy just couldn't deal with them. And it's like, you can't really do that in 40k. If you do that, either your unit's going to get killed, or you're going to wipe out the enemy unit. It's not just going to see with these, like, just a stalemate into the middle of a battlefield, where you can hold up a bunch of the enemy forces, putting the rest out into a flank. Bum, 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 bum. There we go. Oh my gosh, maybe I'm a cat. I just like, I need to move my magnifying glass, and just immediately just went to move it with my nose. My hands were full. Why would I move it with anything else? Need to move it back. I'll just do this. Need to move it forward. Do that with my nose. There we go. We be painting gold. We be painting gold. Gotta love it. Yeah, anyone planning to get the new Age of Sigmar stuff then? With the Clan Eschen? And for new Cities of Sigmar Grenadiers? Bunch of terrain in it too. Looks pretty cool. I wasn't expecting the new Nighthaunt box, to be honest. They seem to be getting a lot of... Maybe not Nighthaunt, Oseok Bone Reapers. The Bone Reapers must be really popular. If they just keep getting these box set releases. Either that or they're trying to increase the popularity. Maybe that's like one of the reasons why the Dark Eldar have had a bunch of combat patrols and battle forces recently. They're trying to increase the popularity of the faction. Like, they've been pretty good deals too. Oh, look at that. He's all golden. He's a shiny boy. I need to make this knee pad thing. Do people actually paint the knee pads usually in a different colour? Like, do you know, for little lip there? I don't think I've regularly seen people paint from a different colour. One of the bush hairs is trying to move out then. I kind of want to look at the other colour schemes now. Official colour schemes. Warhammer 40k Space Marines. Black Templars. No, they don't paint that lip a different colour. They do paint for little... Oh, some of them they paint for little dots different colours. Little rivets like there. Yeah, they paint for rivets different colours. That's like a lot of work though. Oh, the sword, the blade guard here they did it. Yeah. The sword weapon they just did the rivets. These guys they didn't. What about Ultramarines? No. Yes. Yes. Yeah. I don't have it. They don't have it. I don't paint them. Hi, Sal 3258. How are you doing? There's definitely a firmness in these brushes. We're currently painting gold. Maybe I should have painted the bone already a different colour. coding for gold on it. Ah, whatever. I just have to correct it when it comes to it. Maybe we'll wet for brushes more. No, it's a synthetic brush rather than a real hairbrush. Real sable brushes are very soft. There's no firmness to them. This makes it very difficult sometimes trying to do details like eyes, because as soon as you try pushing down on them, either the paint's not going to come off a brush or it's going to bend, and as soon as it bends, it's putting that paint over a much wider area. The firmness of these brushes, though, allow you to put the paint on them and press it in without it bending as much as a silk, keeping the paint in a very focused area. I prefer brown brushes. Yeah, the brown brushes are usually going to... Well, it depends. Some of them are going to be synthetic. Some of them are going to be proper sable. My normal brushes are sable, but I've heard for doing like details and like freehanding stuff, it's much better to use something like this. I only went for this one because people were saying that the value of money for, you know, an artificial brush, these are quite good. And for the fact that they also designed to be in a point. They run out of the paint very quickly, yeah. In fact, I started to like those long tipped brown brushes, very convenient and can store a lot of paint. Oh gosh, you don't want to get the paint up here. You don't want to get the paint. Okay, I'm just going to have to quickly wash the brush actually. I don't mind them not storing much brushes. Most of the painting I've been doing off these guys after doing the initial black paint and, you know, other major work is that it's detail work. So you don't really want a lot of paint on the brush for detail work. You want all the paint all the time. Yeah. Now what I do find is that this brush is capable, because it can keep a really stiff point, it can do the same amount of detail work that this brush can. But because it's a thicker brush, it can store more paint than this brush. This brush has a habit of when you put paint on it, if you're trying to do detail work, it comes off the brush, it dries before it has a chance of actually going onto the model. If your brush runs out of paint at any point, you just cry. Yeah, you want to keep only the very tip of a brush with paint on it. The further the paint goes up the brush, the closer it gets to going onto the metal part, and when it's on the metal part, that's when you risk ruining the brush. Because what will happen is the paint will dry on it inside the metal, and it will pull at the hairs, pulling them to pieces, pulling them apart, removing your point. Yeah. It really depends. Like some of I know Games Workshop, I believe their brown tipped brushes are sable, while the white are artificial. Now I need paint on my brushwood. No! I got like an itchy nose. There we go. been getting spots recently. Maybe I'm stressed. Yeah, if you want, watercolour brushes are generally quite good for miniature painting, whether they're artificial or not. I'm very slow when it comes to painting because I've been like watching these other people paint, and it's impressive just how they can do like reach into the details of a model, paint it perfectly, just really, really quickly. And move on to the next part, or to the next part, and it's just like they can paint an entire model in like less time than it takes me to do part of a model. I have no idea. I'm guessing if it is just experience at the end. I don't, it messed up there a little bit, but it's fine. I'm feeling unwell. I think I need to go lay down. Yeah, go and lay down, TA. Take care of yourself. It was nice of you to pop in, but make sure you're taking care of yourself all good and proper. If you're feeling ill, lie down. Get yourself some soup. Clear your head. Indulge yourself. Don't. There you go. He's a fancy lad. Oh gosh, I just went onto the white. No! I knew someone who painted with a... Do you know those little magnifying glasses that jewelers have? You painted with like one of them. Do you know the one that you just stick over your eye? Buffet was a very good painter. This was back before like contrast paints and most of the speed paints and stuff. Okay, oh, I've got to do... Do I want for motoring gold? Or do I want... I want fist bidding gold. I want fat bidding gold. I think for rest bronze. What I'm going to do, I'm going to highlight with fulgrim copper. But for chains and stuff, I'm going to use Balthasar gold. And again, highlight with fulgrim copper. Fulgrim copper is quite a thin colour. So it's good at showing what's underneath it. There you go. We were pretty productive today. Despite having spent the first half of the stream almost just, first quarter of the stream just talking. And not doing any painting. If you're feeling bad, do what Kundra does and get worse. No! I mean, that's what I do, but I mean, I don't do it on purpose. I'm just very bad at this whole living malarkey. You know, this being well. I forgot to spec into Constitution. When you got a chronic illness, although you know when people say, you know, get well soon or hope you feel better soon or whatever, you know that they're like doing that for because they care and they want you to feel better. But at the same time, sometimes it feels like a sick joke. It's like, yeah, I would do, but you know, it's an illness. It's chronic. I can't get better. No, I actually mean it. You get fined if you don't get well soon. I can't get better because it's chronic. Currently the fine is that 10,000 bobs. Oh, wait. No, 100,000. Is that 100,000 bobs, Talan? Or is that just 100 bobs? A decimal point, you know, it's meant to be like one, like. Is that the European equivalent of a comma in the number? Yeah, I even put the dot every 3 digits. Yeah, but in Britain, we put a comma. And when it's like, if it's 100, we put 100.00. And if it's 100,000, we go 100, comma, 3 zeros, and then dot .00. €1 and 0.029 cents. That's not very much. That's not very much at all. How do you get 0.029 cents? Actually, wait, that's really weird. I make Talan, your number makes no sense. I just realised there's a comma at the end. My GDP isn't big enough. Doesn't Britain have, like, the UK have one of the highest GDPs? You're from Romania. Your GDP is like 2 sandwiches and a block of cheese. Making fun of our GDP. But I think someone stole a block of cheese, which significantly hampered Romanian GDP and economic progression. Our GDP is measured in ways that you couldn't comprehend. We use astral measurements. A parsec. Saying you use astral measurement and I can't comprehend it, you know, to a physicist is in fact our GDP is 1, as in the number 1 worldwide. Keep telling yourself that. You have to compete with Luxembourg. No one can compete with Luxembourg. Luxembourg GDP is 2. What about China? I thought China was meant to be number 1. That's what they keep saying anyway. And North Korea, Talan. Kim Jong-un wouldn't lie to me. He gave me his personal promise that his GDP was the best in the world. By the way, Talan, are you thinking about getting the new Skaven? With the Clan Eshin stuff. In Romania, GDP stands for Gubble Double Poodle. And I'm afraid we have the highest of that. I'd be afraid too. If this was a horror game, the Guddle Buddle Poodle would be, threatening to destroy the entire world. Yeah, but still confused how a box would work. Like, it's 20 models that can either be Gut-to-Run or Slingers. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be... You get 2 squads of 10 models, and either one of them can be Gut-to-Runners or Slingers. From the looks of it, or from what they've said. Yeah. Website! So yeah, you get 10 Gut-to-Runners, 10 Night Runners, sorry, not Slingers. 10 Night Runners or 10 Gut-to-Runners, 2 Bomb Rats! Skaven Death Master. If I want to set up each, I need to buy 2 boxes. What? What? You mean, if you want a squad of 10 of each, then you have to buy 2 boxes? Yes. But if you like say you buy this box set, you'll get 20 Skaven in them. You could build 10 of them as Gut-to-Runners, 10 of them as Night Runners. Or you can build 20 of them as Gut-to-Runners or 20 of them as Night Runners. It's up to you how you want to build them. You basically get all the bits to build each model as either a Gut-to-Runner or a Night Runner. So you can mix and match them as much as you like. Or you're waiting for the individual boxes. You're not going to buy the City of Ash. Oh my goodness. 12 Gut-to-Runners and 8 Night Runners. I guess you could do that. I don't know if you could run that, but... Yeah. So if you want... I mean, you could make 5 of one, 5 of the other, I guess. I don't know if you can run them as a squad of 5. Do, do, do. I don't play in the game. I live in a country I cannot speak the language of, so I cannot play at my local shop. I thought you could speak the language. You could play online on like Tabletop Simulator. I can only say I only learned to say I cannot speak German and this phase. Oh. crazy. I don't think I could live in a country like that. So I only know how to speak English, and I'm not even good at that. There we go. Stars. Not really good. This guy's a fancy man. I think I'll paint everything gold. No bronze on you. No brass. Oh, I was listening to an audiobook and he had a dark apostle right versus some custodians. And he managed to kill one custodian. And he was going to kill a second one because, you know, he's using psychic powers. And he was going to kill a second one and had him at his mercy. And then some sisters of Batu were just like, screw you! And just shot him to pieces. And then he was just like, what the heck? What the heck? How? Why did you kill me and the custodians couldn't have any died? But yeah, I know basic German, just not enough to be confident playing a board game. Makes sense, I guess. I just point to a bard and communicate via dance moves like a bee. I can finally be a bee. Yeah, go and play and be a bee. Be the best you can be. Or what you could do is find like an expat board game group full of English speakers. And then you can play board games in English. Gosh, you're fluent enough in English, it looks like. Because Austria has a lot of English speakers in it. Living there. Not as much as Switzerland does. It looks like there'll be another week next week where I'm not tempted to spend any money until I find out about the City of Ash, because I've been watching the Age of Sigmar Battle Report. One of the other things about Age of Sigmar that feels a bit weird is the fact that every single faction kind of is undead in a way. Like Stormcast Eternals, they die, they get reforged, they come back. Ossiarch Bone Reapers, Night Haunt, all of the other ones, they die, they come back again. Any other Chaos factions? Oh, a champion died. Well, we're just going to bring that champion back again. Back to life. It's like, oh, you're champion of Teclis. Wait, he's just going to come back. There's a lot of factions where it just seems like anybody of any importance dies, they can come back again. Which actually makes it make more sense that they'll be on the battlefield and stuff. On the front lines. And like losing them in a battle because, you know, they're just going to be back. Come back. They've lost many a battle before. Meanwhile in 40k, like a named characters on a battlefield. It's a lot harder to explain them coming back. Any other champions of chaos where, yeah, they do that. The other neck ones, so they just get new bodies. Tyranids it makes sense with. Everyone else, it's a bit less. That being said, you just make the argument that they didn't actually die on the battlefield. They likely just got teleported away at the last moment. Oh my goodness, I am a slow paint. I apologise. I'm trying to learn how to be a bit quicker. I've never been a quick drawer or a painter. One of the things I realised about manga is that I really struggled keeping up with like the amount that I need to draw. I had to be like trying to make stuff weeks in advance. There we go. Yeah. Oh no. You're not painting into here. Paint into here. There we go. Oh no, I got paint where I didn't want it there. There we go. let's do his little wristband here in gold. Because he's a fancy lad, as we said. So, doing all this gold here is honestly one of the more time-consuming parts of the work. The face is quite time-consuming. The gold is quite time-consuming. Doing all the black, they're kind of time-consuming. The blue, not so much. The shoulder pads are a bit time consuming. And trying to get the white being all neat. The black used to be a lot more time consuming. Like, if you undercoat a Black Templar in black and you plan to do it as relatively colourful as I do, it makes everything else more time consuming because you can't just contrast over very easily. So instead going for like a standard grey with a dry brush over it, instead, works so much nicer. Because then you can do like the purple shoulder pad just using contrast paints. You can do the blue of the gun using contrast paints. You can get the whites looking a lot smoother, a lot easier because you could just go grey over the dark grey, or a lighter grey over the dark grey, and white over that, and it's relatively quick. Same, you can just rake off flesh over the tabard and it will look relatively nice, relatively easy with just one or two coats, as opposed to trying to paint it over black, which is a lot harder. On top of this, throwing just black contrast over a model is a lot easier than anything else. Okay, we definitely need to go over with some purple in that shoulder pad. But there we go, that looks pretty nice. Our models are getting along very, very well. So the main thing I need to do some skeleton harden for models. Need to do the eyes. Need to do the various highlights and for various different model bits. Be the bee that you always thought you could be. I then mostly just corrections, like do a bit of corrections on the white for shoulder. We need to do the darker colour down here so we can get a shinier shoulder pad like that. Made just purple, highlight some for white, highlight some for gold, some Agrex Earth Shade, then corrections, so just, oh no, we need to do the browns here. You have a Custoris brown for highlights there. Okay, need to do this white. And then I'm going to have to rush end the stream because once again my stomach wants me to not be here. Wants to go to the little cupcake room. So yeah, my stomach's been a bit funky. It's not too bad there. The white wasp, here. Oh, that's looking good. That's looking very good. Nice. Okay, and let's do for right cross and his back. Just strengthen that. Yeah. I like the right cross and black. I think it looks pretty nice. Maybe that's what I should have done this entire time. Like, instead of going for the white shoulder pad, like for white cross and black, showing that these guys are a bit more pure of heart than your standard Templar. And being a light in the dark, rather than the dark in the light. There we go. I'm gonna go here, yeah. I want to get some skeleton hard on the tabards and pure to seals to give them that bit of you know, depthy look. One of these hairs keeps trying to move out of line with the rest of them. It's annoying. Okay. Shoulder pad's fine. I think it's this shoulder pad I had an issue with. Yep, it is. Need to correct some mistakes. Around here. A little bit of mistake here. Also needs correcting. There we go. Oh. There we go. Yeah. Look at our fancy lads. Oh, we need to do the bronze on them as well. Oh, this guy's the only one who's getting bronze on him. So that's fine. They're coming along quite nicely. And we've tried out a new brush today. So today we've done knee pads, the crosses, and a whole load of gold. Yeah. And readied up a whole load of bronze too. Which is arguably not very much. Like, I know some other people would have been able to paint all 3 models from scratch within this time period, but you know, I'm not other people, I'm me. And for now, I'm not very quick at painting. Oh gosh, but let's go over here. Let's walk. Big love hearts to all. Big love hearts to all. Yeah. If we go over here, do smash. Yeah. Hi. And then I can be like, hi. Schedule. Ah. Yeah, look at that. We're painting Marines tomorrow. We'll be doing some more painting. We'll be making some commandos on Tuesday. We'll be having a long stream on Wednesday where we're making custodies. Yeah. And then, like, we've still got all 12 of the warriors to make. And the tank. Then we've got Dark Tide with Brian on the Friday. More Rogue Trade on the Saturday. And another Warhammer Handcam on the Sunday, which is probably just going to be painted. But it depends on, like, if I get any of my stuff arrives before then. But I'm going to say, before then, well, till then, I'll get the schedule up tonight. I'll try and get to some thumbnails made and the stream scheduled for this evening or tonight. And other than that, thank you for coming to the stream. Hope you have a good rest of the day. Remember to work hard but play harder. Like the stream if you did enjoy it. And also work hard but play harder. I already said that one, didn't I? Take care of yourself, be kind to others and vice versa. Eat good food, sleep well, but dream of cupcakes, but don't eat for cupcakes. Because if it's not food. Goodbye everyone and big love hearts to you. Smash! Yeah! Love you all!